What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, June 25th, 2025, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now it is 14:06 Eastern Time here in the United States, and I wanted to update you guys on the situation with Iran and also the situation in Europe. So, yesterday, the IAEA chief, that's the chief of the International Atomic Energy Agency, said we don't know the whereabouts of nearly 900 pounds of enriched uranium in Iran. So there's 900 pounds of enriched uranium missing in Iran, according to Rafael Grossi, the chief of the IAEA. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP Shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP Shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. And the Iranian parliament approved a bill to suspend cooperation with the IAEA. IAEA inspectors will now be banned from entering Iran until the security of Iranian nuclear facilities is ensured, the Iranian parliament has said. Wow, so Iran is banning any oversight into their nuclear program. That is absolutely insane. And what you're looking at here are some flights over the U.S. We have a B-52 nuclear bomber airborne over Louisiana. We also have, for some reason, a Cobra Ball up in the air, which is a missile tracking plane. This is a plane that can track missiles in the air and calculate trajectories and other detailed information about missiles. So I don't know if the U.S. is expecting another North Korean missile test soon or what. And then, interestingly, we also have an aerial refueler flying over Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. That's the home of our stealth bombers, so very, very interesting. And here we have some video footage coming from Iran's parliament where they chanted "Death to America" and "Death to Israel" following the vote to suspend cooperation with the IAEA. So let me play this for you. So these are the people that Trump wants to make a deal with. Absolutely insane. And the big news yesterday was that, according to a preliminary report by the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency, the strikes on Iran did not destroy the underground structures, but only destroyed some of the entrances to the structures. The report estimates that Iran's nuclear program was delayed by less than 6 months, a stark contrast to Trump's claim of total obliteration. Prior to the strikes, U.S. intelligence assessed that Iran could produce a crude nuclear device in about 3 months if it chose to rush towards weaponization. After the strike, the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency estimates that this timeline has only been extended slightly, Okay, they're saying up to 6 months. That's it. So these strikes weren't as successful as Trump claims them to have been. And Iran's apparent preemptive action was a key factor in limiting the strike's impact. Satellite imagery from Maxar Technologies taken days before the U.S. attack showed 16 cargo trucks near Fordow's entrances, suggesting Iran may have moved significant portions of its enriched uranium, estimated at over 400 kilograms of 60% enriched uranium, enough for multiple nuclear weapons if further refined. Much of this stockpile remains intact, potentially relocated to covert sites, preserving Iran's ability to pursue a nuclear weapon relatively quickly if it decides to do so. So this is absolutely huge news, guys. Iran has scattered 900 pounds of enriched uranium to various locations, okay? So these strikes were not as successful as the Trump administration claims. And the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said that they are now launching an investigation into this leak about the Iranian strikes not being successful. And apparently they're contacting the FBI about it. And Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson says its nuclear installations were badly damaged by American strikes. And Trump is now seeking to limit classified information sharing with Congress after the leaked information about Iran. And now U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has launched an investigation with the FBI into the leaks about Iran. So if the Trump administration was so confident that these strikes were successful, why are they pursuing legal action over the leaked information about the strikes being unsuccessful? Okay, clearly they're insecure about it. And we're hearing that Iran lost over 30 generals in the 12-day war with Israel. Most were senior IRGC, Basij, and intelligence officers. Roles include air defense, cyber intelligence, and regional command. And Israeli Channel 14 reported that Israel believes Iran still has undeclared nuclear facilities that are still active, but Israel has no information about their location. So that's very concerning. And Trump lashed out at the mainstream media last night after the reports that his strikes were unsuccessful. He said fake news CNN, together with the failing New York Times, have teamed up in an attempt to demean one of the most successful military strikes in history. The nuclear sites in Iran are completely destroyed. Both the Times and CNN are getting slammed by the public. And Trump said that Iran is a great and powerful country, but Israel is like a child. And apparently Trump raised his voice during his phone call with Netanyahu yesterday, demanding a ceasefire from Israel. This was reported by the Jerusalem Post. And Axios also reported that Trump was angry when he spoke to Netanyahu and spoke to him in an exceptionally firm and direct way about his objections to the Israeli strike in Iran right after Iran launched one missile at Israel. And Netanyahu said in an address to Israel that Israel is prepared to launch strikes on Iran if it restarts its nuclear program. And Trump called Putin yesterday and assured Putin that he was not interested in regime change in Iran. And Iran has revealed a third nuclear enrichment site and said that activation of the site is coming soon. Speaking live on Iranian state TV, Mohammad Eslami, head of the Atomic Energy Organization of Iran, announced that a third nuclear enrichment facility has already been built at a secure location. He said, "We have already established the third nuclear enrichment site in a secure location, and we will activate it soon." Eslami stated, "Enrichment activities will begin at the appropriate time." Wow. Okay, so they've already activated, or they're about to activate, a third nuclear enrichment site. And new satellite imagery from June 24th of the Natanz nuclear site in central Iran appears to show efforts underway to potentially repair the facility. It appears that several paths have been cleared above the complex by heavy machinery, while a few temporary structures or tents have been erected at one of the impact sites caused by the U.S. stealth bomber bunker busters. Okay, so they've already filled in the holes in Natanz that were created by those bunker busters. I've seen the footage and they've already filled in the holes. Okay, so that's not a good sign. And Vice Admiral Brad Cooper, a top U.S. military official, told lawmakers that Iran still possesses significant tactical capability despite U.S. strikes over the weekend on 3 of the country's nuclear sites. And the National Security Committee of the Iranian Parliament and the Iranian foreign minister said the attack on U.S. military bases in the region was a strategic move and an act of self-defense. Iran's foreign minister said the nuclear program in Iran will continue. And the Turkish president and Trump stressed today the importance of strengthening NATO's deterrence force. And a day after the U.S. bombed Fordow, the Israeli Air Force carried out additional strikes designed to block access to Fordow as much as possible. And according to Maxar Photography, there are massive craters on the roads leading to Fordow and at the entrances to Fordow. And an alleged Iranian military sniper and a former member of the IRGC were among 11 Iranian nationals arrested in the U.S. over the weekend, according to the Department of Homeland Security. So sleeper cells were arrested. And the UK said it would buy at least 12 new U.S.-made nuclear-capable F-35s. So the UK is preparing for a possible nuclear war with Russia, purchasing stealth fighters that are nuclear capable. NATO has several hundred B-61 nuclear gravity bombs, and the new version of the F-35, the latest F-35s, are capable of deploying the B-61. So the UK wants 12 of those. And we're hearing that scientists discovered 2 new viruses in bats in China and warned they could spill over to humans. And Trump said today at the NATO summit that the ceasefire in Israel and the Middle East is going very good. I am so proud of Israel. They brought their planes back. He said about Iran's nuclear facilities that they knew we were coming. So if they knew we were coming, there would not be many people there. And the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said about that report that it was preliminary and low confidence, and he says, we think the damage was far more severe. And Trump said that the flame of the bombs was all underground. Everything above is burned black. They did not have a chance to get anything out. I think the Iran nuclear plans have been set back decades. So he's contradicting his own administration's intelligence that says several months. He's saying decades. Obviously, that's a huge stretch. Trump also said, we are getting along with Iran right now very well. He also said Iran and Israel were like 2 kids in a school fight. He said, let them fight for 2 to 3 minutes and then you see them stop. He also said if Iran rebuilds its uranium enrichment facilities, the U.S. will attack them again. And the IAEA chief said Iran informed him that they had taken protective measures on their enriched uranium stockpiles now. So I don't know what that means. He also said Iran has nuclear technological know-how as well as industrial capacity, and no one can deny it, basically saying that Iran can easily restart their nuclear program. And the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the bottom line is Iranians are much further away from a nuclear weapon today than they were before the president took this bold action. That's the most important thing to understand. Significant, very significant, substantial damage was done to a variety of different components, and we're just learning more about it. And Trump said Iran was very nice. They gave us a warning. They said we're going to shoot the missiles. Is 1 o'clock okay? I said it's fine, and everybody was emptied off the base so they couldn't get hurt. So he's basically saying that those missiles that were launched at Qatar, Iran gave them a heads up and said, we're going to strike Al Udeid, okay? And so this just makes me wonder, like I said last night in the stream, if this was all not just one big staged event. And Trump said that he will talk to Iran next week and that he may sign a deal with them. He said that 52 Israeli planes were heading to Iran to respond to what they thought was a ceasefire violation, and I asked them to turn back. Trump said the conflict between Israel and Iran could start again, perhaps soon. He also says he doesn't think nuclear materials were moved. He said both Israel and Iran are tired. He also said it's possible that Putin has territorial ambitions outside of Ukraine. And Trump also said today that he stands with Article 5 of NATO. That is why I am here, referring to the NATO summit in the Netherlands. And the NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said politicians in Europe and Canada should stop worrying about U.S. commitment to NATO's Article 5. Trump told a closed session with his fellow NATO leaders that something had to be done about Ukraine, and the situation there was totally out of control. And the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio talked about sanctioning Russia. He said if we did what everybody here wants us to do, and that is to come in and crush them with more sanctions, we probably lose our ability to talk to them about the ceasefire. And then who's talking to them? So he's basically saying that the U.S. is not going to apply sanctions on Russia. And at the NATO summit, allies agreed to increase defense spending to 5% of GDP. And Zelensky appeared in a suit for the first time at the NATO summit. So here's actually a video of Trump talking about how Iran warned them ahead of time before they attacked the Qatar base.
14 missiles were shot at us the other day, and they were very nice. They gave us warning. They said, we're going to shoot them. Is 1 o'clock okay? They said, it's fine. And everybody was emptied off the base.
So very sketchy, very concerning. And then here's a video of Zelensky showing up in a suit for the first time at the NATO summit. So for all you people out there that say that he never wears a suit, well, there you go. And then here's a picture of him meeting with Trump. And apparently the suspension of domestic and international flights in Iran has been extended until 8 p.m. today, local time in Iran. And the Turkish President Erdogan said he believes there's a window of opportunity for a ceasefire and lasting peace between Russia and Ukraine. He also said Turkey is a country of peace and that Turkey will stand against Israel's oppression. Trump said Putin really has to end that war, referring to the Ukraine war. He said we'll see if the U.S. will provide money for Ukraine's defense, and we will see if we can make some Patriots available for Ukraine. And Zelensky said he had a good meeting with Trump today. He said that he congratulated Trump on the successful operation in the Middle East. It is important that the U.S. actions have weakened not only their nuclear program, but also the production of drones. We will monitor the situation. We discussed with the president the protection of our people, primarily the purchase of American air defense systems to cover our cities, our people, churches, and infrastructure. Ukraine is ready to buy this equipment and support American weapons manufacturers. Europe can help. We also talked about possible co-production of drones. We can strengthen each other. So that's what Zelensky said following the meeting. They spoke for almost an hour, so long meeting. And Trump said he did not discuss the ceasefire with Zelensky. He just wanted to see how he was doing, supposedly. And we're hearing that Iran's defense minister visited China today, and Israel's chief of Mossad is their intelligence, said Mossad's achievements in Iran have been unimaginable. We worked for months and years to ensure the right actions happened at the right time. We will continue our presence in Iran just as we have until now. So, very interesting. And we do have some massive protests, and actually they've turned into full-scale riots and civil unrest in Kenya now. Kenya has banned their media from live broadcasting the ongoing riots, and there's some intense clashes between police and protesters. And we're hearing that several Kenyan police officers were firing directly at protesters. And here's actually a picture of Nairobi, and you can see something burning here. Okay, so, but that's the latest breaking news that I have. I might be back later on tonight with more breaking news. I'll probably be hanging out in the live stream later on tonight, closer to midnight, seeing what's going on and monitoring everything around the world. So probably closer to midnight Eastern time. If I don't see you there, have a good one, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere.